Hello, everyone. Nearly 10 years ago, I went cross country to visit my mom's side of the family, and I stayed with my uncle. However, my uncle had work, my aunt had work, my two cousins, one of them was at boarding school, the other one had work. So, my cousin got me, took me to the mall, and I was there for the entire day. That day, I watched Ant-Man 1 and cried to the death of Anthony. Later on, I cried to the Pixar short of Inside Out. I think it was the volcano one. And then afterwards, I cried to the death of Dumbo. What was his name? Bimbo? Bing-Bong. That was the name. Now, question is Inside Out going to change this pattern? Basic plot is Riley is growing up and she's having more emotions. Those emotions being anxiety, envy, and embarrassment. She's growing up, she's becoming a teenager, she's noticing smaller facial expressions on other people, she's confused on how to react to it. She's being more deceitful, she's being 0 to 100, and she's not quite sure how she's supposed to navigate in the world. She's just, a little teenager figuring things out. But of course, that's only half of the story. The other half is our previous gang of emotions dealing with the introduction of these new 3 emotions. Embarrassment is... Wait, wasn't there another one? Yeah, there was another one. There was another emo one. I can't remember the name though. Among those new emotions, anxiety is the leader of them and taking charge. Eventually, I'm not gonna spoil that actually. What is there to say? The character designs, honestly, the 4th one that I can't remember the name of, she is spot on. She both looks and acts exactly how like exhaustion or whatever, apathy. I don't know what it was. I don't remember what it was, but they're really good. I feel like character design wise, however, I feel like, especially in the previous movie, the character designs are so spot on, with Joy being like emitting light, anger being a square, of course, and then, fear being hunched over. And now it just kind of seems like there's a bit more homogeny among all of the emotions. And besides that 4th one, I feel like the other new emotions don't really convey much. I don't know how you can convey anxiety, I guess, other than like being hyper or like, eventually, stuff happens, but whatever. I think envy, her eyes are pretty good in conveying envy, of course. But then I feel like embarrassment is also kind of a cheat because the only character design, the trait is the hoodie, and so there isn't much. Other than that, something I wanted to mention was the texture on the emotions. I feel like it's become more homogenized. I'm not sure. At least with Joy in the first movie, she almost seemed like a like literal ray of sunshine, like a bunch of different rays and beams, slightly like particles. Now it seems like everyone is just kind of fuzz somehow. I'm not sure. The voice acting, I don't really have much to say about that. I think it was all right. I think it was good. Something I do want to say is, for memories at least, I can understand there being like a low amount of things happening in a shot. Remember, there are like small spheres. Those were memories. Because like if you have a memory, you don't really remember much. You remember the main things there. But I feel like overall in the movie, there wasn't much happening, or like it happened, especially in the second half, where so Riley likes hockey, right? And there's going to be a hockey match. We have a close up onto Riley's face, but there's nobody behind her. This is a hockey match. There's like 12 people in the rink, but there's no one else there. I felt like that happened quite a bit often. It's not just with hockey. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, it happened when the emotions were exploring the brain world. I'm not sure what to say. And there were like bean guys around. Going back to the plot, there's actually more I want to say. The movie has to deal with the fact that the first one came 10 years ago, pretty much. And I think it quickly reintroduces the world and how things work really well. Immediately, Joy is reminding everyone how things work, what they do, and they look like they work more together now after the events of the first movie. And after the movie does this reminder of how everything is, it takes the movie into places that are new and entertaining to watch. And not just that, the story is really good too, or like the things they say. Of course, like there are a bunch of maybe not exactly metaphors, but Riley is growing up and dealing with these new emotions, and you can see how these new emotions take hold of her and how these emotions make her think, things. They established that earlier in the movie too. She has I can't remember the word they use for it, but she has she has a whole, she has a core, she has a personality matrix, whatever, that is made up of all of the things she does. And that's what she believes about herself. When these new emotions come in, they get that out of whack, and it changes how she believes and how she thinks about herself. And that is really relatable. I'm not sure what more to say other than like, it's also very sad to see a little kid thinking these same things, thinking these bad things. You can tell since you're like an adult, you know, a little kid won't know, but you can tell since you're a grown-up and you've experienced these things, when if you have a little bit of knowledge, you can see how these things place by place work, and you can understand how Riley would think these things. And it's so devastating to happen. I'm not gonna lie, if the theater wasn't packed by other children and families, I think I would have started crying again. There were probably 3 times this movie got me to hold back tears, and like slowly tears roll off my face. It's honestly very sad seeing Riley feel these things, experience these things. And you can understand it so well because it's written really well. And it sucks that these things are happening to her, but it's done so well. And I want to say this movie, it makes you feel something. And honestly, that's genuinely beautiful. Like after watching this movie and feeling the things I did, I'm like super grateful that like this art here has been able to impact me this way. I like make me feel something. You know, what is art if not something made to make you feel something, right? And it made me passionate. This movie, Oppenheimer, Dune 2, this movie, when art really impacts you, when it actually makes you feel things, emotions, and like Godzilla X Kong made me feel stuff too, but like it wasn't the same as this, obviously. And I'm just so glad that I felt something. It was able to impact me this way. I feel very grateful. And it reinvigorates like a passion for movies and this art form. I'm just really glad I was able to watch this and experience this art. More onto the relatability, it's also really relatable with the jokes being being cringe, honestly. Being embarrassed and apathetic. And how Riley reacts to social situations self-awarely, it is funny. Kind of like, oh my god, Riley's acting just how I used to act kind of a way. I think that's just about everything I want to say. Before that though, I want to say something quickly about spoilers. At the end, I swear to God, after anxiety calmed down. By the way, I very much enjoyed the other joke at the end with anxiety drinking anxiety. That was funny. At the end, when anxiety calmed down and the control panel was calling Joy, I thought Joy was evaporating, disappearing. I thought Joy was going to die, and my heart genuinely sunk. I cannot believe it, but I got so relieved when she didn't die, like when she just walked up to the console and like didn't mystically evaporate a la Oogway in Kung Fu Panda 1. Speaking of which, Kung Fu Panda 4, in my opinion, does not justify its existence as a sequel. But as I'm saying here, it introduces new things into the world, it expands it, it does so well as a sequel. And honestly, I'm very glad, because on one hand, Disney is absolutely infected by franchises and pumping out sequels and sequels and sequels. And it's nice that Inside Out 2 isn't just a cash grab. Obviously, if it's coming out 10 years, more than 20 years, Incredibles 2, after the original, it's obviously a cash grab, but at least it isn't bad. And not just not being bad, it's like actually good. For Inside Out 2, I feel like for relatability, I would want Inside Out 2 to be higher than Inside Out 1, but I'm not exactly sure right now. I think they're basically equal in my head. I think I'd give both of them a 7 out of 10. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to say. Here's the list right now. Check me out on Twitter. There's a letterbox still if you care. And I think that's about it. Goodbye, everyone.